When it comes to stress, there is no avoiding it. We are quite literally hardwired to be stressful creatures, for that's what kept us alive on the savannah. However, for many of us, we no longer live on the savannah, but still carry this constant state of stress and tension in our body. So in today's video, I want to go over 5 different techniques that I tried to employ to reduce this constant state of stress and tension in our day-to-day life. Probably one of the best things that you can do to reduce your stress is to get back into touch with the very thing that mitigates it, which is nature. One of the toughest things that I've personally had to do over the course of the past few years, and still struggle with today from time to time, is trying to maintain my circadian rhythm and making sure that that is staying on point. For those of you that don't know what circadian rhythm is, you can think of it as this natural rhythmic state that our hormones and our physiology fluctuates through on a day-to-day basis. When these hormones are released, they are what wake us up in the morning. It's also what puts us to sleep at nighttime. It's also what helps to mitigate how hungry we are and at what times throughout the course of the day, and also when we have this sense of being full. So it's safe to say that circadian rhythm is a very important thing. And one actionable way that we can go about improving our circadian rhythm is through 2 different formats. The first one is to simply wake up with the sun and do your best to get morning sunlight into your eyes. I live in the Pacific Northwest and we don't get a ton of sun, especially this time of year. A lot of it is just gray skies and rain, but I still do my best to get out there in the morning, go for my morning walk, and just try to get exposed to even the soft amount of light that is coming through the clouds. I find if I can do this and combine it with some type of red light therapy, that I can maintain a relatively tuned state of circadian rhythm. At nighttime, this presents more of a challenge, especially this time of year in the winter as the sun's going down around 4 p.m. But you can mitigate this furthermore with having red light around you, as well as using blue light blockers for your eyes. I think by combining these 2 different formats, you are well on your way to tuning your circadian rhythm. Another way in which you can reduce stress in your body is by simply reducing the amount of stimulation you interact with on a day-to-day basis. I think it's far too easy nowadays to ping pong around from one thing to the next, from your phone to the computer to the TV to the book to your next appointment. It just seems to be a never-ending laundry list of things that we have to do or are constantly trying to distract ourselves from. We'll call this the scarcity stimulation tactic. And really all this is just being mindful of how often you notice that you're trying to distract yourself from a task at hand by going on social media, by turning on that Netflix episode, or if you're anything like me, trying to drown yourself in work. These are simply all distractions and very needless stimulation that actually ends up taking away from our productivity and efficiency for the things that we truly enjoy. The next technique is to reduce your stress and also tension in your body, and that is to get daily exercise or just daily movement in general. I have a ton of content on different exercises and stuff that you can employ, so I won't get too much into that. But one easy actionable item that you can start to do right now is simply just go for a walk. I think going for walks is probably one of the most therapeutic things that I do on a day-to-day basis, and it's just a nice break from this madness that we can find ourselves in on a day-to-day basis. Whether you're appointment hopping or going into multiple states of deep work, see if you can chunk in even a 10 or 15 minute walk, and do your best to try not to think about anything while you're doing it. Simply just walk and just be an observant of yourself and everything else that is going on around you. I've found by employing this that my daily stress has reduced significantly. Because I'm not constantly going from one thing to the next, I kind of have that small break in between that allows me to almost transition into the next task. In this next technique, we are going to be reducing tension in our body. And we are simply going to do this by engaging in self-examination. For this technique, simply all we have to do is just be observant of ourselves and really just do a full body scan as to where we are holding tension and where we might even be feeling subtle hints of feedback or pain. What I find is by doing this, I'm often surprised as to where it is that I'm holding tension in my body. And more importantly, I'm often surprised as to when I'm holding that tension. For example, I could be simply just watching a TV show and I notice that my toes are curled and I have all this tension on the backside of my legs. And I'm like, why is there tension there? So simply just take a couple check-ins throughout the day, even if it is for a 10 or 15-second period, and just see how your body feels in that moment. I think, again, a lot of us are just racing through life, not allowing ourselves to check in with our surroundings and with ourselves. And I think it's this compounding effect of ignorance that we have around our bodies that ends up creating pain in the long run. Because of this constant ignorance, our body has to provide something that is more acute so that we then pay attention to it more readily. So take some time out of the day for you. As Socrates put it, an examined life is one that is not worth living. And the last technique, number 5, on how to reduce both stress and tension in your body is to simply take time out of the week to do something that you love. This might seem relatively obvious and straightforward, but I think a lot of us can go through just the motions of life almost in this mundane way, and we're always trying to please to other people rather than ourselves. Or we're just doing what other people want to do all the time and we don't actually really want to be there. So whether that be producing music, writing a newsletter, shooting hoops, working out, meditating, singing a song, the list goes on. But try throughout the week to at least do something once that it is that you truly enjoy and fills your bucket fully. I think if you can do that once a week or multiple times a week, you'll notice that you're going to feel a lot more aligned with yourself. And as a result, you're going to feel a lot less stress. Now, I know this wasn't the most technical video where we were getting into all the different physiological hormones and how to optimize for this very specific one. But I think these are easy takeaways that we can all employ readily. And the idea here is simplicity and reducing the barrier to entry. And what you might notice with all of these is they all feed off one another. To a large degree, if you do one, all of them are going to start to fall into place. You'll notice that when your circadian rhythm gets on point, that you're not going to want to stay up so late eating junk food. And as a result of that, you're going to notice that maybe you want to start to exercise more. And because you start feeling better, you're going to want to do stuff for yourself more often, i.e. doing something for yourself. And because you're doing something for yourself that you're passionate about, you're not participating in this endless loop of stimulation that we find ourselves in. And it really can become this amazing positive feedback loop that we can all integrate into our lives. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to throw it a like, as well as subscribe to the channel for more content around both exercise/movement, around different mindset practices that we can employ, and ultimately getting to a place of self-mastery. If you feel like somebody in your life could benefit from information like this, I'd really appreciate it if you shared this video, as that does help to bring more like-minded people like yourself to the platform. And until next time, make sure you are prioritizing and then you are optimizing for you. I will see you in the next one. Peace.